What's up, fam? This is your boy ELJEFE, and I am here to drop this comparison video between the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2 versus the One More True Wireless ANC and the Sony WF-1000XM3. Now, these three are some of the top dogs in active noise canceling true wireless earbuds, so I figured you'd want to know which one may be the best choice for you. Now, if you're interested in any of these three, make sure you hit the links in the description box right down below. This way you can get the latest updated pricing. Now, before we go any further, and for full disclosure, because I like having transparency and honesty with my audience, I went out and bought the Sony earbuds with my own money. The Sennheisers and the One Mores were sent over to me by their companies for my honest opinion and review. And if this is your first time here and you're not familiar with the way that I do things on this channel, whether I go out and buy the product myself or if a company sends it over to me for a review, I'm always going to keep it 100% real with you and let you know whether or not it's worth your hard-earned money. So with that said, we are going to be talking about three true wireless earbuds here, so it's going to be a bit of a longer video. So sit back and relax, grab a drink, maybe grab a snack, and let's jump into it. Now, first and foremost, I went ahead and updated all three of these earbuds to their latest firmware versions to make sure that we are talking about these in their newest and most updated state. So first, let's talk about the price tags. So at the very top, you're gonna have the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2. They're coming in at $300. The Sony 1000XM3s hover somewhere between $200 and $225, just depends on the day. And the One More True Wireless ANCs come in at $200. But as always, if you are interested in the One More True Wireless ANCs, you can always use code ELJEFE on the One More website, and that will take 20% off that price. So just throwing that out there in case you are interested in picking those up. So with that out of the way, let's do this. So first up, let's talk about the connection. As far as the Bluetooth version goes on these three, the Sennheiser's gonna have the latest version, which is Bluetooth 5.1, with the Sonys and the One Mores coming in with Bluetooth 5.0. Now, you would think that coming in with Bluetooth 5.1 would put Sennheiser at the top of the list. Unfortunately, that is not the case. At the top of this list for connectivity is gonna be the Sony 1000XM3s. With range, I was able to push these out to a little bit over 40 feet without any disconnections or dropouts. As far as the One Mores, they came in right around 33 to 34 feet. The Sennheisers, right around 30-ish feet. Now, this isn't just based on range, but I'm giving you those numbers so you're aware of what the ranges are. As far as latency when watching videos, all three of these were awesome. They all perform great. Little to no latency when watching video. Unfortunately, all three, when you're playing any sort of first-person shooter or high-paced gaming like, Call of Duty on mobile or, Fortnite, things like that, PUBG, you're obviously going to experience some latency there. Unfortunately, if you are playing those games, you definitely still need to stick to wired earbuds or maybe pick up something like the Razer Hammerheads, but that's going to be what it is. And then with the Sonys and the One Mores, you do have the dual connect feature where you can use these earbuds individually while the other is charging in the case. That's a great feature to have. Now, unfortunately, the Sennheisers don't have this feature. No matter what I did, I tried them on multiple devices, tried multiple sides, and you can only use the right one independently. As soon as you take that right one off and you put it in the case to charge, no go. That connection to the left one is totally severed. To me, that's a bit weird. Not sure why they didn't include that, but that's why they're going to come in the number 3 spot as far as connectivity. So for me, my lineup, connection, it's going to be number 1 for the Sonys, number 2 for the One Mores, number 3 for the Sennheisers. Next up, let's talk about that call quality. Now, for me personally, I'm going to put the Sonys in the number 1 spot. I'm going to give the One Mores the number 2 and the Sennheisers the number 3. Now, I'm not just saying this arbitrarily. I'm going to go ahead and play you some clips. This way you can hear sort of how I came to this decision.
And here we have the call quality for the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2 in a quiet indoor environment. Test, 1, 2, 3. Checking the call quality on these mics.
And here we have the indoor call quality for the One More True Wireless ANC in a quiet indoor environment. Next up, we have the call quality for the Sony WF-1000XM3 True Wireless earbuds. Test, 1, 2, 3. Indoor call quality in a quiet environment.
So here we have the call quality for the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2 in a simulated crowded noise environment. So like a cafe, crowded bus station, something along those lines.
And here we have the One More True Wireless ANC in a simulated noisy cafe, bus station, something like that. So test, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Sony earbuds in a simulated noisy environment. So test, 1, 2, 3. Call quality, something like a cafe, bus station, something like that. As always, you got to be the judge of the call quality in the comment section. Now, for me personally, I feel like the Sonys sound the most natural. They have more bass in the voice. They sound a little bit better and cleaner, at least to me. But as always, when it comes to call quality, you're going to have to make the final decision on whether or not that's going to work for you, especially if you make a lot of phone calls. Next up, let's talk about the cases. So as far as the cases are concerned, for me personally, it really comes down to size, pocketability, and how much room they take. That's a big thing for me. So as far as the lineup for the cases go, I'm going to give the number 1 spot to the One More, number 2 to the Sennheisers, number 3 to the Sonys. And let me break it down a little bit for you. So as far as the One More, it is very compact. It is more slender and long, but it makes it fit in your pocket much easier. They also charge via USB Type-C, same as the other 3, but these also feature Qi wireless charging that the other 2 do not. So overall, not bad. It has a very clean and smooth finish, very discreet. I like the way it looks, I like the way it feels, and that's why it takes the number 1 spot. The Sennheisers also have a nice case, which also features USB Type-C. It's still using that same fabric type of feel to it like it did on the original versions, except this one is a bit darker, so less chances of it getting really dirty out there. This case is a bit thick, but it's also a bit shorter than the one for the One More, but it is slightly larger, so that puts it in the number 2 spot, not to mention the fact that it also doesn't feature wireless charging, something that I would have hoped for considering the price tag. And then number 3, you're going to have the Sony WF1000XM3s, and for obvious reasons. This case is freaking huge in comparison to the other 2, in comparison to a lot of other true wireless earbuds. It is a massive case. Not sure what's going on there with Sony, but yeah, they really got to slim that down a bit. I'm willing to sacrifice some of the recharge capability or some of the battery size for a case that fits in my pocket a bit easier. But that's just me. And that brings us over to the comfort. So comfort, now this is going to be highly subjective because everybody's ears are different. So this is strictly based on my ear shape and my ear size. So take that with a grain of salt. As far as comfort goes, I'm going to give this to the One More. Out of the 3, these are easily the most comfortable to my ear. They fit the best. They have the nice little loop on them that holds them nicely in place. They don't fall out. They seal well, and they're fairly lightweight. So I don't have any fatigue in the cartilage of my ears or anything like that. So no problems. I can listen to these for long listening sessions, 2 or 3 hours, not going to be an issue. So they come in the number 1 spot. Number 2 is going to be the Sennheiser, nice compact earbud, fits in my ear kind of nice, but after about, hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours, it does start to weigh a little bit on the bottom side of my ear here. So a little bit of discomfort there after a long listening session, but nothing that I can't, really manage with. But it puts them in the number 2 spot. Unfortunately, number 3 is going to be the Sony WF1000XM3s. These have a thick area on the earbud itself that is just not very compatible with the shape of my ears. Sometimes I can last all the way up to like an hour, hour and a half listening to them, but beyond that, it gets very painful. Like I'll notice it later on in the day if I try to, wear a different set of earbuds where I'll still feel the pain and the soreness in my ears because I had the Sonys on for over an hour. So at least for me, they are uncomfortable. Now this doesn't apply to everyone. This is literally because of the shape of my ears, but that's why they come in the number 3 spot, is because they actually cause me a little bit of physical pain when wearing them. Now, before we move into the next section of this video, let me tell you about the way that I test these headphones. Personally, I use a streaming service called Tidal, and they feature high-res, hi-fi, and master quality tracks with a wide selection of artists and tracks for you to test with. Now, if you're interested in checking out the playlist that I personally use to test all of these earbuds, hit the link in the description box right down below, and this way you can check it out for yourself and see exactly what I'm talking about. And if you're looking for a free trial, make sure you hit the link down there as well. They are doing a trial right now where you can get 4 months of hi-fi for $4. That is a ridiculous discount. So make sure you hit that link down below for Tidal, give it a try, check out the high quality sound. You will definitely appreciate it. Now, speaking of apps, let's talk about the apps for these earbuds, because all 3 of these do have a companion app that's available both on Android and iOS. The number 1 spot's going to go to the Sony. Their app is very simple to use, and it has the full controls right on the front page. So you don't have to go digging through menus to really find stuff. It's all right there. You have control for the ambient sound. You have control for the active noise cancellation. You have extensive EQ controls. They have presets. They have user programmable modes. You can save your own custom EQs. So a lot of options right there as far as music control. And you can also control like the quality of music, the DSSE. You can make adjustments based if you want it to have more connection quality or more sound quality. You can adjust that as well. And they now feature fully programmable touch control where you can do volume control on one earbud, you can do track control on the other. So you can really set that up to the way that you want to do it. Not to mention they also do firmware updates along with a bunch of other features. So that's why I really like their app. It is probably the most extensive one that you'll see out of all of these and very easy to use. Number 2 is going to come with the Sennheiser. Sennheiser has a very clean app. The interface is very polished, very nice, and also very simple to use. Just not as extensive as I would like to see or as extensive as the Sony. Sennheiser has a very oddball way of EQing things where you have to sort of EQ it on a graph. So where if you adjust one side, it affects the other side. That can work pretty well. I mean, I've got it to work for me fairly well, but personally, I would like to see more of a graphical EQ where you can really make that fine-tune adjustment to really get your sound right. But it is what it is. That's just me. I really hope they would do something like that. My only gripe with the Sennheiser app is that sometimes it refuses to pair with the earbuds. So probably maybe 1 out of every 5 times that I'll turn on this app, it just refuses to find it. I'll have to disconnect the Bluetooth, reconnect the Bluetooth, and then it'll find it. So that's the only gripe I have with that app. Now, third, you have the One More. It's called One More Music. This one, it needs a bit of work. I mean, it gives you the ability to do the firmware updates. You can control the ambient mode. You can control the active noise cancellation. It even gives you battery readouts and stuff. But there's no sound modes. There's no EQ settings. So it would be kind of cool if they added something like that. Just make it a little more feature rich. It would be kind of nice to see. But it is what it is. Here's hoping that they do add that in the future. Fingers crossed. I guess we'll see what happens. But as far as the apps for these earbuds go, the Sony headphones app, number 1, the Sennheiser sound app's going to be number 2, and the One More Music is going to be number 3. So next up, let's talk about the battery and playback time of these earbuds. Now, all these tests were done with active noise cancellation turned on to the max setting. So we're going to rank them like this. Number 1 is going to be the Sony. Number 2 is going to be the Sennheiser. Number 3 is going to be the One More. Sony's came in with 5 hours and 45 minutes with active noise cancellation turned on. Sennheiser's came in at 4 hours and 50 minutes with the active noise cancellation turned on, and the One More's came in at 4 hours and 36 minutes with ANC turned on. So the number for the One More has changed ever since the firmware update. So I'm not sure if that's strictly because of the firmware update or because of multiple charge and recharge cycles, but I have seen a noticeable improvement in battery life of the One More ANCs. So when I originally tested these, they came in at under 4 hours, and now we've pushed up almost another half an hour, maybe a little bit more. So there's an improvement there, bringing them closer in line to the other earbuds. Now, one thing that was very noticeable that I think really stood out was the fact that Sennheiser was claiming close up to 7 hours worth of playback time on these earbuds. Now, I'm assuming that they meant that without the noise cancellation turned on, because we're not getting anywhere close to 7 hours with the ANC on. But just throwing that out there. And this is why I wanted to give you exact numbers so you can make sure you know exactly what you're getting when you buy these earbuds. So for battery ranking, number 1, Sony, number 2, Sennheiser, number 3, One More. So on the topic of active noise cancellation, let's rank these just based on ANC itself. The way that I test this is usually I'll go into, say, like my bathroom with the ceiling fan on. I'll test it that way. And then I'll also go into a room with a bunch of machinery and I'll test it that way as well. I'll basically just turn on the ANC and see how much of that noise is reduced. I don't have a way of like physically measuring it with any sort of like scientific tools, but I just have to kind of use my ear, and you got to kind of just take my word for it. So as far as sheer active noise cancellation, number 1 is going to go to the One More ANC. Their active noise cancellation is just a tick stronger than the Sony's. I mean, just by a hair. For some people, that might even be negligible and you can have them tied up. But for me, it felt like it just tamped it down just a little bit more than the Sony's, so I have to give them the win. Number 2, obviously, is going to be the Sony's. Very strong, class leading, but for me personally, just a hair under the One More's. And in sort of a distant third, the Sennheisers. While their ANC definitely works, it's nowhere near as strong as the other two. I expected a bit more out of Sennheiser considering the performance that I got with their active noise cancellation headphones. Unfortunately, that's just not the case, but it is what it is. It still does work. It still does block out a lot of the low frequency noise. It's just not as strong. as the other two. And then next up, let's talk about the volume and the sound. So first of all, let's talk about the volume. As far as the loudest of these three, that's going to have to go to the Sony WF1000XM3s. Number 2, you've got the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2, and number 3, the One More ANCs. So all of these get plenty loud. I mean, even the number 3 spot, the One More, gets more than loud enough. I don't have to listen to these at max to really enjoy them. You know, I probably hit these right around 75 to 85%, sometimes 90% if I really want to get pumped up. So to me, the volume is pretty good. You still have some good headroom there if you're going to listen to anything with sort of like low dialogue. As far as the Sennheisers and the Sonys, no issues with volume whatsoever. They get more than loud enough. So definitely loud enough to damage your hearing above 90%. So be careful with that. Then as far as the sound quality goes, for me personally, I'm going to have to rank them this way, and then give me a second to explain why. So in the number 1 spot, it's going to be the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2. Number 2 is going to be the Sony WF1000XM3. And number 3, you're going to have the One More True Wireless. Now, when I went ahead and did my sound test, I went ahead and EQ'd these earbuds to my taste. The Sonys and the Sennheisers have the EQ app, so I can make those adjustments. Unfortunately, with the One Mores, there is no EQ settings in their app. It's just based on the way it sounds, so I couldn't make any adjustments of my own. I didn't want to step up and start using some third-party app, so I left it as it was. So EQing these to my tastes, the Sennheisers definitely have the better sound quality out of the 3. Now, as you can see, I kind of went ahead and slid the bar over on the graph for the Sennheisers, so basically boosted the treble clarity a little bit, and it sort of reduced the mids and the bass just a tad. So to me, it sounds really nice like this. It has a bit more of a natural sound, and I really, really do enjoy it much more like this. Very rich, very full, surprising amount of soundstage. I mean, not wide, kind of narrow, but still pretty good considering that we're talking about true wireless earbuds here. I do wish that in their very flat or neutral setting that they had a bit more, you know, boost in the mid-range a little bit. Seems to be kind of lacking there, but overall, it's the better of the 3. And the Sonys come in the number 2 spot. With the Sonys, I did basically a mid-range boost. I left the treble and the bass right where they were. To me, it makes them sound much more better, much more rich and warm and full. I really like the way they sound, but they just can't really match that, I don't know, that open type of sound that I'm getting out of the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2. Now the One Mores, being that I couldn't EQ them, they just kind of come with their stock EQ, and to me, they sound very, very good. A nice smooth sound, very bright, a bit more treble than the other two, and that's based on their dual driver setup. But overall, they just kind of can't keep up with that sound. Maybe if I was able to do some mid-range tuning on the One Mores, I can get them to match or perhaps even sound better. But being that I didn't have anything available to do that from the factory, I kind of couldn't roll that way. For me, sound quality, number 1, the Sennheisers, number 2, the Sonys, and number 3, the One Mores. But just to be completely clear, all 3 of these sound amazing for true wireless earbuds. To be completely honest, you can't go wrong with any of these 3. I highly recommend all 3 of them as far as sound quality is concerned. So out of these 3, which one would I recommend for you? Well, out of everything here, out of everything we talked about, all the features and everything here, overall, I think I would recommend for you to be picking up the Sony WF1000XM3s. They are the best overall combination of all the features that we've talked about, and the price isn't overly ridiculous. Now, mind you, I am recommending these despite the fact that they don't fit me that great. Now, mind you, comfort and fitment is very personal. That is something that is personal to me. And the fact that I can't wear these for, you know, an hour, hour and a half is definitely an issue, but that is a personal problem. You may not experience this problem at all because we all have different shapes of our ears. That's what makes me comfortable in making that recommendation to you of the Sony WF1000XM3s. Decent battery life, great connectivity, great call quality, easily the best app out of the bunch, the better battery life as well. So sound and active noise cancellation are on point as well. And then the main drawbacks are going to be comfort for me personally, and then the size of the case, pretty big, but it is manageable considering everything else that you're getting for this price. As far as the One Mores go, they definitely need a little bit of work. Now, they did make some improvements in the battery life, and they did smooth out some of the sound quality with the active noise cancellation turned on, but still, it could be improved a little bit. As much as I like it, they definitely need to work on that just a little bit more, or add an EQ to the app itself, and that way we can adjust the sound to our personal flavor. Please, if One More is watching, my people, my homies over at One More, I'd love to see a graphic EQ added to the app. If you guys can do that, that would be awesome. Here, fingers crossed, hopefully they're listening. So hopefully we can make that happen. But overall, I still highly recommend the One More. If you're looking for that true wireless experience with dual drivers, the strongest ANC that you can get in true wireless earbuds, then this is really going to be the way that you want to roll. And then number 3, for the Sennheisers. The Sennheisers, for their price tag, is very tough for me to recommend. Now, they do have the best sound out of the bunch after being EQ'd. I definitely enjoy that. But they do need some work as far as the microphones, as far as the call quality is concerned. For me personally, that call quality is definitely not cutting it, especially for an earbud that's coming in at $300. That, and the fact that they don't have the dual connect mode. Despite the fact that they have Bluetooth 5.1, for whatever reason, there's no way to use them independently of each other. So that's something that if they're watching, I'm not here taking a crap on the Sennheiser earbuds. They are a great set of true wireless earbuds. But for $300, considering the competition is bringing everything, they're throwing the kitchen sink at their earbuds, I think Sennheiser should be doing the same. They should be doing the same. They should be bringing dual connect. They should be bringing dual or triple microphone array. Considering the extended battery life, I think they can handle it. So hopefully they hear what I'm saying. Hopefully they make some improvements. That would be really good. But overall, I mean, just for the price, it makes it tough to make that recommendation based on the competition in the market right now. They're still a great choice. Anybody who picks them up is really going to enjoy them for the sound quality. But if you're looking to make phone calls, you should probably look elsewhere. So with all that said, I just want to say thank you for watching this video. Thank you for sticking with your boy through this whole video. If you have any questions, concerns, or anything, make sure you leave those in the comment section. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button if you haven't done so. And everybody, have a safe and awesome week. Wash your hands, stay healthy, and stay inside. Peace, everyone.